Which one is it? Check 1, check 2, check 3, check 4, check 5. I'm out the door. Yo, check 1, check 2, check 3, check 4, check 5.
Test
I'm
1,
out
2,
the
3,
door.
4. Test 1, 2, 3. I can turn me down a little bit. I'm kind of hot in the press. There we go. There we go.
Turn
there
my
we
mic
go.
up. Who said that? Kevin Hart? Not
No.
Kevin Hart. That was Dave Chappelle.
I thought that was Jay-Z.
No, he
That
was like,
was Jay-Z.
It was Jay-Z, but I'm talking about the skit.
Oh.
So, turn my mic up. Hey, what? Hey, turn my mic up.
So was he doing it to make fun of Jay-Z?
Turn my mic up. Yo, hey, turn my mic up.
See, I don't think Kevin Hart is funny.
Well, I think he's funny. I think that he's the hardest working man in show business.
Just because you work hard don't make you funny.
I think he started out funny. We're used to Kevin. We're gonna miss Kevin when he steps away from the scene. Like I think he's created space for himself. He's put out 3 movies a year over the last 3 years. Him and Dwayne Johnson. You know what I'm saying? They just saturate the industry with their face and their voice.
So you think he's funny?
I think
Who's funnier?
like of all time.
Yeah, or just current. Like who you like? Okay, Kevin Hart's in the lineup, but this person's in the lineup.
There's an Asian guy. I can't remember his name, but I think he's funny. I think Dion is funny. I think, of course, Dave Chappelle's funny.
But they're funnier than Kevin Hart.
I think all these guys are funnier than Kevin Hart.
Okay.
But I'm saying, like, I think there's the ebb and flow of funny. Like, Kevin's last 2 specials was like, nah, it was cool. But his first 2 are hilarious. Grown Little Man. What's the other one? Drop Some Fire on him. Like, well, actually, it was his first 3. Those are hilarious. But then I don't know. It's like you kind of get used to the way that he talks and his storytelling, and you can kind of see it coming. You know, the thing about comedy is like there has to be an element of surprise to it.
Yeah. What I do like about Kevin is his ability to tell story. I think he does a good job. Now I do think like he tells it the same every time. Mm-hmm. But I think we may all do that. Like
there's an element of like our style. But even at that, like, you know, you think like Dave Chappelle tells his stories.
He's a great storyteller too.
He's a great storyteller, and you're waiting because he always comes out of left field or something. You're waiting, and so whenever he tells a normal story, it's like, oh, okay. Like I thought you were gonna do something else. But he does it well, and he has a format to it.
Yeah.
And he's gonna bring in something really serious, something political, something social, and then he's gonna end it with like something just like low hanging fruit.
Yeah. This like almost messes up everything that he said. That now I will say this: I oftentimes don't even understand where he's coming from when he's talking about stuff. But people be like, "Dave Chappelle's so smart."
He's like, brilliant, dude.
But that's maybe the case. I'm just not that smart. But I'm like, what? I don't even know what he's talking about.
You mean like the actual issue?
Yeah. Like he'll be covering an issue or something like that, and the way that he talks. That he's talking is like confusing me almost.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then people be like, "Man, he's so smart." I'm like, "Was that smart?"
I don't think he's.
Or he just giving his opinion.
Oh, both. I mean, he's definitely giving his opinion in the same way that he can talk about the LGBTQ population, and he's talking about serious stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, he's a comedian.
Yes.
And
so you don't know.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he's talking about serious stuff, but he's a comedian, and he kind of gets the pass, and he doesn't care, but he brings up serious stuff, and he makes people laugh about it, right? And I think that's the necessity of comedians. Like they're so far the other way. They're so far the other way that it makes us come back and look at it like in a very cerebral Like if I'm talking about if I'm comparing, monkeys to gays, and it's like, well, that's funny. I see what you did. I almost feel bad laughing at it, But for real, we know they're not monkeys. And then you bring it back, right? And so I think the job of comedians is to take it so far, like let's laugh about it, let's have a good time, but let's really bring it back and talk about the issue. Instead of being so serious about it all the time. It's a serious issue.
Yeah.
It's a serious issue. But we can't minimize it, and then we can't make it the most important issue of all time. It's like we have to find this middle ground where no group of people is more important than the next, right?
Yeah.
And we need to make some big steps. But how do we do it? Well, we legislate it, and then we laugh at it, and then somewhere in between, we try to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
That's the complexity of humanity.
I was about to say that's just humans, right?
Yeah.
That's just how we operate, and for lack of really knowing always what's right, we just do it in that way.
Yeah.
Then it sometimes gets confusing or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so you never really, those people are funnier or not.
Yeah.
Did you get a new tat?
I told you I was getting a tattoo.
Let me see it. What is it, just circles?
Yep, it's just I got.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about tat.
So
is that your first tat?
It's my first one.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to a guy. He was like, "You went kind of big for your first one, bro. Like this took about 4.5 hours, 4 hours. But it's because he had to fill in everything. He had to draw a lot of it by hand. And so the number 5 is my number.
Yeah.
Number of grace. And
was that your number in sports?
55.
Okay.
Yeah. Double grace. 55 for me. And so it just keeps going. It never ends. And I'm thankful. I'm grateful for it. That it's new every morning. Like no matter how I look at my life, no matter how I turn it, no matter how I look at it, like it's still there.
Yeah.
And then I'll get another piece done up on my shoulder. But I think it's in the same way that I want it jump in front of my eyes, in the reflection on my chest every day. Like to encourage myself to jump into hard conversations, to jump into new things. I wanted this on my body.
So for people not looking, like right now, you definitely know we're talking about a tattoo. So you know it's somewhere on his body. He has a tattoo on his arm.
Yeah.
It's just going in a circular around the top part
just
of his arm.
five rings.
But then his T-shirt says jump. And so every day you've been wearing a T-shirt that says jump. And now you've been talking, you were just sharing like why you're wearing this and why you want this in front of you.
Yeah. Just want to keep it in front of my eyes. So every year for the last 3 years, I picked a word, right? I've actually found my word for 2022. But this,
can you find it this early?
I can. I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
And it's
you can't tell it now though.
I'm not going to tell
okay.
it. I'll do a big reveal, of course, via social media probably. But I won't do shirts next year because well, I can't tell you.
You can't tell. No.
But I'm saying like part of next year is my wife gets to dress me every day for 2022. And she's signed up eagerly.
She couldn't wait.
She's like, let's start now. And I was like, I'm like, no.
Now you gotta finish out your jump.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a project here, right? So in 2022, January 1 until December 31st, 2022, she'll dress me every single day. And I told her every day that she does not dress me, I'm wearing jeans and a black shirt.
Got it. Yeah, why not? Jeans and black shirt is perfect.
I agree.
I love that outfit. So did you talk about jump one more time? What is jump to you?
Yeah, so jump, when you think about getting out of a space, like moving into another, throwing yourself by force, jumping towards something, jumping away from something else, is very important to me because I think I'm a very calculated guy when it comes to some things, but I'm very sporadic and not calculated when it comes to others. And so when I'm thinking of jumping somewhere, to me it's this movement by force, this explosion of energy into a space. And so for me, that was what 2022 or 2021 was all about. It was about jumping into new areas. I jumped into a new job. I jumped into new endeavors. I jumped into all these cool opportunities, whether they were personal or in the community. I joined a couple of new boards. I'm trying to do some cool stuff on the east side, jumping into business endeavors. So for me, it was really more about it's this I'm not walking, I'm not crawling concept. It's me exploding into new space. I want to go. I just want to do it. I want to jump. And to me, I couldn't find another word that captured the concept of this vast, extreme, sudden movement. And so jump, that's what the word means to me.
How long did it take you to get to? Because like I try to find a word every year, so my word is less. Got it on my wrist, right? Like for you, like does it take a while for you to get to this place where you know your word, or is it like boom? Well, you already know your word for 2022.
I do.
Had you like even though you had your 2021 word at that moment, did you start thinking about your 2022?
So in 2020, I remember very distinctly. I was on a balcony in Branson, Missouri, with Paradigm Shift. It was a retreat. And the owner sent the entire staff up there, and we just meant to have fun. But I woke up every morning, and I just, spent some time by myself, meditating in prayer, just kind of reading, and just out on this balcony overlooking this vast landscape of hills. And, it was cold, so it was snow, and I'm looking at these deer and all this cool setup, just kind of really trying to get in a quiet place because I'm never there, right? And I was just thinking, like, how cool would it be to just do stuff and not have to, like, I can be calculated, but to just do it.
Yeah. Because
a lot of people just talk. You know what I'm saying? And you and I will just, in fact, you're more of a doer than I am. Like, I'm like, well, what if it fails? And you like, so?
Yeah.
What if it fails? Like, we just found a way that don't work. And like.
We just keep moving.
Yeah. And so that concept to me, I think I've even though I do stuff, I've just never been. And so, that word came to me late last year. I'm in December, 3 weeks before, and I'm like, oh, I got my word now, right?
Yeah.
And the year before, was just new stuff, So I don't know, man. Like, I don't try to set time aside, which I probably should. Think about
your word.
Yeah, I usually just like when it comes to me, I'm like, that's the word.
I think that's the way it should work. Like, I think that, well, I don't know. So I think about my word in the way of like, okay, what do I want different about my life?
Yeah.
And that may, I think, that's probably for all of us, right? Like, what do I want different from my life? How can I make it better? I think for me, it's like, how can I make it simpler? Like, I think the year before was, oh my goodness, was it simple? Was it the word simple or simplicity? I think it was simplicity. Mm-hmm. Like, and then this year's less, like, they're quite differently, but in my mind, I think of them differently. But
yeah, it's your word. I mean, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I guess that's true too. Like my word,
makes sense to everybody else.
Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense to everybody else, but it definitely makes sense to me. But yeah, I think that's cool. Talking about paradigm shift.
Yeah,
you did make that jump into doing that.
Yeah,
you left Fact.
Yeah.
Which was a great organization as far as what it's doing on
Still
the
great.
east side of Oklahoma City. Yeah. Mentoring young kids, young adults, right?
Yeah.
Paradigm Shift, you still get some of that. It's different. Talk about Paradigm Shift and what it means to you and the work you're doing.
Yeah, so there's an element of Paradigm Shift that I did not see coming that I've embraced fully. So the fall, August, September, October, I was talking to Jared, who's the CEO of Paradigm Shift, and I was like, hey man, I just want to let you know I'm going to be in the same space, some similar spaces. We're going around the country, around the world, giving this content, this curriculum, giving all these cool stuff to these kids. But I think there's a disparity between who's getting it. And when I say disparity, I mean specifically like black kids, white kids, Native American kids, Hispanic kids. Like I just see a disparity between who's getting the information and who's not. Mm-hmm. I am a black male. I have a passion for black students. I want to make sure that as a visibly being a part of the community, but also somebody who is socially invested as well. I want to make sure that black college students, high school students, middle school students are getting the content, right? And so, Jared, that's going to be the space that I'm in. And he was like, oh man, like we've been trying to get in that space. Like, come do that space with us.
And Jared Murray is a Native American, white American.
Yeah, Native American, presents as white.
White, yeah.
Yeah, as a white male. And Jared absolutely loves to have these conversations. He embraces the concept of stepping into new space, right?
Yeah.
And so he's one of those guys that does not avoid. He leans into those difficult conversations, which I admire about Jared. But he was like, "Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah,
let's do it." And so brought me on, and joined the staff. Brought me on contract last September, brought me on full time this past May. And my whole job is to create content, bring awareness, make connections in the Black community in the high school and college space.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
You say I'm passionate about Black kids, Black students, that space. Can you be just as passionate about other kids, even though you say, man, I have this like when someone hears you say that, mm-hmm. should we feel as though like, man, well, he doesn't have any passion for white kids?
Yeah, no, it's not that I don't have passion for white kids, but I think when you feel a certain responsibility,
gotcha,
right, for a particular demographic, right, it's like I can care for your family, and I love your wife, and I love your kids, I love your mom, I love Bernie's brother, right? I love, the aunties that are around. I love being over your house, right? I love sleeping on your floor. You know what I'm saying? I eat your food, I love. But I'm not gonna love your family more than I love my family. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like my responsibility is to Nia, to Ethan, to Takia, to Irma Jean, right? To Lucretia, to these are my family, my siblings, that's my responsibility. Yeah. Right? It's to love them. Yeah. First. Yeah. To love them most. Yeah. Right. And so when I think of people who are saying, well, why I gotta be Black kids? It's like, well, what's home base for you? Yeah. What's home base? Home base for me is Oklahoma City. I can care about a lot of cities. I can go to other cities and care for them, but Oklahoma City is my city. Yeah. Right? I can care about other families, but the Siers that's my family. Yeah. Right? And I can care about kids, which I do. Anybody that knows Derrick Sier knows that I mentored, right, Moroccans, Hispanics, Blacks, whites. I've mentored across the board. Yeah. But I have a certain affinity for Black kids, right? And it's because I grew up in the culture and I know I can identify with, and I know what obstacles we face. I know where the disparity is. I know where the lack is. And I can more genuinely speak to that population than trying to manufacture a bridge or transfer some sort of experience to another cultural group. Gotcha. Right? And so I can be passionate about a lot of stuff. But first, like home base for me, just like it's Oklahoma City, just like it's the Siers, is Black kids. Yeah. Got you. And you're able to do that now within Paradigm Shift, which overall Paradigm Shift does what? Paradigm Shift, they are a interactive, experiential-based learning company, and they deal a lot in the grant sector as it pertains to Gear Up, Trio. They do predominantly Black institution grants. And so they're in the grant-based sector. So they service a lot of students, but they hired me specifically to speak to the Black community. And PSME, right? So Paradigm Shift Minority Empowerment is the branch under Paradigm Shift. Got you. What have you learned? I always ask questions like, well, what have you learned? Yeah. I love to ask that question to people. Yeah. What have you learned since making this jump into Paradigm Shift, kind of walking away from having this space that you primarily focus on, which was the East Side? Yeah. For how many years did you do? 3 years with Fact. So 3 years with Fact. Yeah. And you were still doing other things. Of course. That was kind of the home base, let's say. What's it been like? What have you learned since making that jump and starting to really have, now you're like, we're trying to touch anybody within the 50 states to fit this particular demographic. Right. What are you learning? How are you being able to reach people? Yeah. So, I walked into the warehouse, right? It's Paradigm Shift has headquarters in Muskogee, and they have HQ. What they have is a different building, but they have the warehouse, which is where all the training takes place, where all their interns work. And I walked into the warehouse, and for the entire summer, I've been identifying our Black interns, hanging out with them, trying to run our content by them, making sure it fits and it lands well. And I didn't realize this until this happened. I walked into the warehouse, and there was some kids there, and they were like, "Oh, are you looking for the PSME kids? Or the PSME interns?" And I wasn't, right? But what it told me, what it taught me, is that they had associated my presence, my name, my face with a certain initiative. And if I want to make sure that I am building bridges and not setting up walls, that I have to have that as a focus, right? So I was like, dang, you mean to tell me that people feel like Derrick only talks to certain people, or Derrick only hangs out with certain? So that broke my heart, right? Yeah. So probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is to make sure that while we're servicing a particular group of students, right, while we're targeting a certain demographic, to not isolate ourselves in that initiative. There are a lot of people that's like, man, like, we were better before desegregation, and there's an argument there, but I'm not a separatist.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want us to be in a certain quadrant of the city where all of the people like live there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that. I want us to be able to shop where we want to, to go to church where we want to. Yeah. I want us to build bridges and to have that. And the only reason I'm focused on a particular group is because I feel like they are not getting the same opportunities that everybody else.
For sure.
So once we get it equal, you know what I'm saying? Then I think there's the opportunity to freely engage. But while one group is at a disadvantage, I think they deserve a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
So I'll bring it back and I'll make it short. During this endeavor, this initiative, I've learned that while I am giving particular energy and focus to one particular section, to not neglect the rest.
That's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah, because there is this. That's my priority, but at the same time, I don't want my priority to burn bridges.
Yeah.
Is that the way that you kind of see it?
Yeah. Because if I neglect it, it's almost like if my right arm was weak. Say it was in a cast. And I broke it, and now I'm trying to like make it better, and I neglect my legs and my chest and my belly and my left arm, but I'm like killing this. I'm like and I forget everything else. Well, this is gonna stand out. People gonna be like, hey, I see your right arm is weak. Oh, hey, I see your right arm is too strong. Right? Yeah. You've neglected everything else.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to spend so much time that that's a good word, that I neglect the body. Ooh, I just like back myself into that one. I just back, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to spend so much time on one area that I neglect the body. Yeah. And so that's important, man. That
it is. We do that with our families, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, completely. Completely. We do it in our churches. We do it in our communities. We do it in our families. It's like we pour so much into an area that we forget the rest. Mm-hmm. And I think it takes a very intentional plan. Like, you got to be strategic in the way that you approach those things.
Yeah.
And I know I'm saying a lot. I'm using a lot of words right now, but the overall gist is like, how do we connect with one and not neglect the other?
Yeah. Any tips on that?
I think just we have to be aware.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
That is happening.
Yeah. Like we can't get so caught up in the process or the building. We can't get so caught up that we lose focus of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The bigger picture to me is to make sure that everybody's okay.
Can you really do that though?
Well, I can do that, but my home base is this particular group of people. But what makes me not neglect everybody else is like a relationship with Gary. Gary's plugged in somewhere else. It's a relationship with Eddie. He's plugged in somewhere else. A relationship with like these people. I'm supporting their initiatives and their efforts, but I'm not giving more time to their stuff than I am to mine.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm. It's not that I'm not focused. It's just that I'm not isolated and siloed.
Got you. So you're saying, man, I may spend time with Hetty, who greatly loves his community or has a specific initiative that he's working towards. And that's kind of like me not going completely in, trying to do whatever in that space while I'm still doing my space. And so because we have a connection and we both have our own initiative, I can feel this connection to Paradigm Shift.
Yes.
Because of you.
Yes.
Yeah. And so talking about Paradigm Shift, let's
to
talk
Oklahoma City.
To Oklahoma City.
To the Siers.
Yeah.
Right? You're not invested in my family more than I am.
No, yeah.
But you're connected.
Yeah.
You're aware of what's going on.
Yeah. Not beat somebody up for y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Meaning like, I ain't got to be all the time there.
Right.
But I'm there enough in the space and feel a connection in such a way that I'm willing to fight for you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that's the same with, I may not spend as much time in the Hispanic community or whatever, LGBT community, and have this love for somebody or these people that I wouldn't be willing to stand up for what's right.
Definitely.
For them.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
But you can't. I heard somebody say this, and I'm not sure this is the phrase I want to use, but he says, I'm an ally, but I'm not a pro. And what he meant was like, I can support your efforts, but your effort can't transcend mine. Right? Like everybody has to have you got to have a thing.
Yeah.
And if everything is your thing, then you do none of the things well.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
So I can look across and be like, ooh, that's important. Ooh, that's important. Guthrie's important. Deer Creek's important. Edmonds important. Ooh, Dale City, man, y'all doing some great stuff. Like Norman, Moore, UConn. I can do that. But at the end of the day, it's the east side of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
That's where I retreat to. That's where I lay my head. That's where I park my car. That's where I pay my taxes. That's where I buy my groceries. That's where I fill up gas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's where I speak to my neighbor. Like that's where, not to say that I'm disinterested in everybody else.
Yeah.
But because I'm connected in those places, I can care.
Yeah.
I can care, but still, this be my focus.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like I have choose Guthrie signs up because it's the priority for me.
Yes.
I'm not saying don't choose Oklahoma City,
Right.
don't choose Tulsa, but I'm saying for me and for the people who live here, let's make sure that we make this a priority. Doesn't mean we can't
For
go
us.
shop. Yes, for
Yes.
us. Yeah. No, that's good. Talking about relationships, I love relationships. I love how you can pass on a relationship. I may have a relationship with you, but I can pass on my relationship to other people.
Yeah.
Paradigm Shift being one of those relationships.
Yes.
Like that relationship was something that I had invested in
Yes.
and started out.
Right.
And then you came into that relationship.
Yes.
And I love and this thing I love about our relationship anyway. I feel like this happens with our relationship. Hey, Derrick, come MC We Tell Stories, right? You MC We Tell. Derrick is MCing more events than me now. You know
Because
what I'm
of that, though. Yeah.
yeah, but because of that, and vice versa, whatever it may look like. But I love that about relationships. I love that I can invest in a relationship and then see it go to another relationship.
Yeah.
And there's a win out of that. Talk about relationships for you. You're a big relationship guy.
I am.
What do those kind of things look like for you, and what does that mean to you?
So I think that I can look back over the course of our 15-year friendship. Coming up on 15 years. I can look back over that. It's more than 15, actually. I can look back over that, and I can see connections. I can see jobs that I have. I can see careers that I've chosen. I can see the impact and value of relationship, right? I don't have this relationship with Paradigm Shift without the introduction, right? Without the transfer of trust.
Yeah.
And I think when we consider the power and influence importance of relationship, it's almost like it. Have you ever been in an airport and they have these things now where it's a flat escalator?
Yeah.
And you can step on it.
Yeah.
And while you can still walk or you cannot walk.
Yeah.
But if you walk on it, you go faster.
Yeah.
To me, that's relationship.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I can do a lot of stuff on my own, but when people get on the relationship belt, they just move so much faster.
Yes.
And to me, that's the power and importance of relationship.
Yeah.
I can do some stuff on my own, and I can go knock on doors, and I can shoot out emails, and I can send out text messages, and I can go on LinkedIn, and I can use Facebook, and I can do all that stuff. But none of those things are going to be as effective as Haiti saying, "Hey, come to Guthrie. I got somebody I want you to meet."
Yeah.
To me, that's the important relationship. Also, relationship is based on transfer of trust. And so there are going to be people who meet with me. Like if I met with Jared on my own, we're spending time developing a relationship. But the fact that Haiti said, "Hey, Jared, I want you to meet this guy, Derrick. Derrick, I want you to meet this guy, Jared." It already comes with trust. It already comes with the level of integrity because we know who Haiti is and his level of integrity and how I trust him, my relationship with him. He's not going to introduce me to somebody that's whack.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I think about relationship, it's like the speed of it, the transfer of trust, like you can build more, build faster, you can build bigger when you work with people that you have a relationship with. And if there's a way to hack the growth, right, through some sort of transfer relationship, then I think you're able to do it faster.
Yeah. No, and I think, and like I said, vice versa, like you're now doing we're currently you're introducing me to people based on relationships that you have in order to move something ahead, move something forward faster than what I would be able to do by myself, which is super cool. And the reason I just talk about relationships because, you know, one of the things I'm always talking about community wins. And then we're also a part of, there's this community called The Exchange that I'm a part of that I get to host. And one of those things is this kind of thing that I want from The Exchange. right? I want people to be a part of this community who are entrepreneurs, creatives, and be able to exchange relationships, resources, and things like that to move one another faster. And I think our relationship is a great example of what that looks like and what it can be like. And I love that you said, man, 15 plus years of this happening. It's not like it happened, no, it's not an overnight thing. It's definitely a marathon. Want to continue to do it, old and doing it now, looking to say, how can we do this for younger people and things of that nature? Do things like the Define Your Win, kind of what we've been talking back and forth about as far as coaching young African-American boys.
DYW is going to be big, man. Like, I really believe in that. I don't know if you talked to this community about.
No, not a whole bunch. We haven't put it out there much.
It's going to be legit. And I know it's developing right now, but when you launch that thing, like just in our conversations with organizations and people and executive directors, grant managers, like people that are running the programs, they hear about it and they're like, actually interested, like, are
like,
you
how
doing
do we
it
really
now?
make this happen?
Exactly. So
can you pull this off? No, I think that's great. So the last thing I want to talk about, which I love as well.
Wait. Can I pause that question real quick? Here's something else that I love about relationship is I was doing this activity with it's called the Art Science Prize, and the Art Science Prize is how do you take art and science and do great things, right? And so we took these kids. It was an after-school program. They were high school students. They signed up, volunteered to be a part of it, and they were challenged to take these what appear to be polar things, which are art and science, right? Put them together and come up with some pretty cool inventions. I'll tell you the 3 inventions that they came up with. One was a rotating backpack. They were saying, like, I hate taking my backpack off and going inside. And so they were like, what if I had something around my waist, like when I traveled, that allowed me to take my backpack on it and slide it around and it would still be hooked, right? They created this. It's really cool. Second thing, this guy was like, my grandma loves to change her house around, but she's old and she can't like really move her furniture. So how could I create like this app to where my grandma could like move her furniture around? And so they they made a magnetic floor and they put polarizing magnets on the bottom of furniture. And so whenever they hit this button, the furniture would float. And then as you moved it on the app, you could move the couch.
Get out of here.
Look, these are kids, bro. These are kids, right?
That's legit. Can I get that? That ain't for old people.
It's like, that's for everybody. That's for, even to the point they were like, I want to be able to put it on walls. And so where I could move the couch and it would like, once I hit a button, it would suck to the magnets on the wall. So now I got like, so I want to vacuum or mop the whole floor. I can, on this app, stand in front of the room and move all my furniture. That was the second. The third thing is this guy said, my grandpa had a heart attack mowing his yard, right? And he was like, I just wish there was a way that we could mow our yards without actually having to be out there in Oklahoma heat and stuff like that. And so they started doing research, and there's this little robot that you can like set down and it'll go around your yard, almost like the little sweeper thing inside the house. But he was like, but what if the mower and the sprinkler system could work the same? And so they built this device that popped up out of the grass, and then it fanned out and says zzz, like a weed eater, and then it goes back in the. I
need that now.
Listen, bro, these kids are like,
I need that right now.
They're inventing stuff that's really cool, right? But the concept, I say all that to say, like, I think we try to connect the dots as it pertains to relationships.
Yeah.
But when you take these polar people and you put them together, you remove the need for the dots.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I'm a mentor. You deal with whatever the extreme thing is. And to me, that's the importance of relationship.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I can introduce mentors to mentors and we can make some stuff happen.
Yeah.
But if I introduce mentors to professionals, then I'm doing something that's leaping over the relationship gap, right?
Yeah.
If I can take these 2 random dots, if I can take heart attacks and sprinkler systems and create something in the middle that's allows people to cut their grass at the press of a button. If I can take my grandma's arthritis and her love for design, and in the middle, I create an app that allows you to move furniture. My grandma can move. Like, if I can take people that are in different industries and put them together, like the magic that happens in the middle is a result of relationship.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Okay. That's all I wanted to say. While you talking, I wanted to make sure I got that in.
No, that's good, man. It's all recorded.
Is it recorded?
Yeah,
Do we get it?
If not, they're there.
Okay.
I need a monitor to make sure that's on. But anyway, man, that's good. So this kind of goes back to the relationship. Let's talk about social media for a second.
Yeah.
You're great with it. This is the thing about social media that I love. Like, a person can have 1,000 people follow, and I want people to understand this. Like, you can have 1,000 people follow you.
Right.
You can have 100 million people follow you.
Right.
It's about the engagement. And I don't know if you've intentionally done this, and I think there can be seasons of this, right, where it feels like, man, everybody and their mom is on my social media engaging with me.
Yeah.
And then it's like nobody is engaging with me.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the seasons where you have the most engagement, right?
Yeah.
What is the key to getting the most engagement? Not the most likes, but people comment, talk back to you in social media. Like, I would say that I probably have more followers than you on Facebook.
Agreed.
And Instagram. You don't
on every platform.
You're not as active as on Instagram as
I'm not.
Yeah.
But you have more on every platform.
Yeah. But your engagement, even regardless of my highest season of engagement, your engagement is always par none. Likes and comments. What do you think it is about your engagement or copy, the content of it, that allows for that to happen? Because I think it's so important for people to understand that just happened. But I want you to just talk through how you go about placing copy on your Facebook. Let's just do Facebook.
Just Facebook. So I think that it's a social arena, right? And we found a way to monetize it. We found a way to businesses have pages, but at the heart of it, it's a social platform. And people want to get away from business. And people want to have fun. And they want to interact with folks that are genuine. And so I think what I do in the space really, really well is I have a lot of fun. It's never too serious. It's never too trivial. You know, like, no matter what it is, my point of dropping it off is to create some sort of conversation, right? There are a lot of people that say Facebook or social media is for me, it's not for people. Well, it's like, well, it's for you. What you doing out there? Like, I don't care if people will respond to this or not. It's just my page. I say what I want. It's like
that makes no sense.
It's a social platform. It's called social media, right? It's like, that's the whole point. It's to create conversation. Yeah. I'm on here to be social. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah. And so you're like, I mean,
I don't care. Like, you ain't gotta like my. You ain't gotta. It's like, well, print it off and put it on your wall, man. Like, if it's all about you.
Yeah.
So to me, like, it's trying to create this social environment, right? And so one thing that I've been very aware of is I do not try to often push business. That's my first thing. I try not to push business. If I do push business, it's projects that I'm a part of, right? And so it's going to be Paradigm Shift. It's going to be PS Me. It's going to be my book. It's going to be things that I feel like are very important to me. But this is what I've learned is that I get less engagement on those things than I do, or just some regular funny stuff, talking about my family. Yeah. So I would say this to people that are watching this, that are hearing this. If you're trying to pick up your interaction, your engagement, then I would say make it more interactive, right? You can drop some stuff and just be like, bye, and that's cool. Yeah. But if you really want to engage people, you have to make it engaging. You have to make it interactive. And that's something that I do. I post questions. I'm silly. I try to post things that other people can relate to, laundry, my wife, my kids, food, my dog. Yeah. I try to make it to where people see it and they're like, oh, that, like, yeah. I can get with that. It not only can I get with it so much, it's moved me to engage. Yeah. Oh, like, I hate folding fitted sheets so much. I'm gonna like it.
Yes,
and then
like, I can agree. I'm with him.
I'm gonna hit the comment button.
Yes,
and then I'm gonna like. I hate fitted sheets that much.
Yeah.
I love flowers so much. Like, if you can scroll past a lot of people's stuff, but my hope is like it's social media
for sure.
I want to engage,
and you give people your ability to write. Like, there's some talent to this too, right? You're creative. Like, so in your presenting your folded sheet scenario, it's done typically in a list, right?
Yes.
In each item on this list, you've thought it through.
Yes.
Maybe not as long as it would take me to try to think of your list and write it out that way, but
Yeah.
So those things happen too, and so sometimes people are trying to make social media, and they're not that talented in the sense of like the ability to write, to create a list that's engaging. And so now I'm staying on your post 5-10 seconds longer than I would anybody else, because I'm like reading each point because they've been so good and you've been consistent in putting them out. Yeah. Right. So I think some of that holds true to why people are engaging with your stuff as well. And you're great at building relationships. So you're not only doing that, but you're also writing these people notes. I am. You're also grabbing coffee with these people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think for people listening and saying, hey man, I want to have more engaging content, I think those are some of the things. Like, it takes work to do this, and you have to be super intentional. Yeah. And there takes some talent. Everybody can't be Michael Jordan.
Everybody can't be Michael Jordan. And I'll say this as well. Like, if you throw it out there, you can't just throw it out there, man. Like, you can't just throw it out there. You gotta engage the people that engage you. Yeah. And so something that I'm very aware of is like, I make sure that I see the people, that I go back, I respond accordingly. Now that takes a lot of time.
Yes, it does. Yeah, and that's a great point too.
It takes a lot of time to go back, because not only am I engaging with people on social media, like, and you pointed this out, I'm also engaging people through social media offline as well. Yes. So I have so many people that talk to me in person about my social media stuff. Yes. Yeah. And then it goes back to now I have an extra point of connection, because they're going to go back and talk about what we talked about online. Yes. And then people see us talking about something that we talked about in person online. Yeah. They chime in, and then I talk to them. And so this concept, and I'll say this as well, I'm not big enough right now to where I can't afford to invest the time in doing that. There are certain people, if Kevin Hart responded to every comment on one of his posts,
he couldn't do it.
He can't do it. I don't know what the fine line is. I don't know if it's 150 comments. I don't know if it's 300. Like, I don't know what the limit is, but I've maintained a pretty healthy balance
of engagement
of the people that are on the post.
Man, thank you so much for your time, man.
Can I say one thing before we leave today? Yeah. Like, I think that it's very important that people build relationships, but I would encourage folks to engage with people that they don't normally engage with. Yeah. Right? It's time and time again, man. We say this, like, meet somebody new, meet somebody different, have hard conversations. But I think the more we stay in these little bubbles and we stay in these echo chambers and these silos, I think that we don't get a different narrative. And it's not agreeing with the narrative, but it's being aware of what the narrative is. And we can't have people inside of our bubble telling us what the other narrative is. Like, let's go find out from other people what their narrative is. Yeah. I also say that don't feel like you can stand in one place and speak for everybody that looks like you or sounds like you or whatever that is. I tell people all the time, like, you want my black perspective, but I can't speak for every black person. I can't speak for every black male in the same way that I'm not speaking for every human. I'm not speaking for every husband. I'm not speaking for every father. It's important that we go out and we meet people and we get different perspectives. And I think when we do that and build a relationship, that's where the greatest growth takes place. And I don't know that people are doing that well. Yeah. They're staying in a little bubble and they're listening to people that are all saying the same thing. And regardless if it's true or not, right? They're like, yeah. But they're not really getting any external feedback.
They just hold to that.
Yeah, I really want to encourage people. I want to challenge people that are listening to this. When you log off, when you push pause, I want you to end this episode and I want you to immediately reach out to somebody. Now, listen, reaching out is hard as well.
Yeah.
Because I've literally had people come up to me and like, I want to know more black people. Like, as awkward as that is, I'm like, okay, right? Well, first of all, thank you for your bravery. Thank you for, we can have a different approach.
Yeah.
You know, but your heart is you cut through the crap. You're like, I don't have any black people in my life. I want to meet more black people. And I can respect the desire to want to meet people that are different.
And that goes across Hispanics, Caucasians, all types of great ethnicity, culturally, all these things. It's not just black people that we're saying. There's black people who need more white people. There's more. You know what I'm saying? Like you want a great blend of folks. And
I'm saying political parties. I'm saying people in different businesses, people in different cities, people with different socioeconomic status, people with different education levels, right? With different skill sets. I'm saying like when we surround ourselves with different people, it widens our perspective. It broadens what we think we know. It challenges us to think differently. And when we meet those different people and we go back to home base, we get to chew on those things. And I'll honestly say that I've learned more about myself meeting other people than I ever could have in individual therapy or in my own little silo. When I hear different stories, I take it back. When I hear other people talk about their marriage, I think about my marriage. When I hear other people talk about their kids, I think about my kids. Do I need to send Ethan to Florida for a summer? You know, and so he can go play soccer with other people and get out of Oklahoma. Do I need to do that? Do I need to go on a retreat with my wife and let it just be us? You know what I'm saying? Do I need to, when I hear about other stuff, I learn more about myself. It allows
for you to reflect back and say, hey, how can I either add this? Is this a needed thing for me as well? So things to definitely consider. And so, and those come out of having relationships.
Agreed.
And sometimes it's hard to make those connections. But
do it.
But do it. And it may come off awkward or whatever, but I think oftentimes people can catch a certain person's heart and be like, oh, this is coming from the right place.
Yes.
So, yep.
Do it.
That's good. Hey, as always, ladies and gentlemen, go win.